What if the life you are living right now isn't as fixed as you think? What if the struggles you face, the victories you celebrate, even the random coincidences you chalk up to chance, are not accidents at all, but reflections of something much deeper? For centuries, we were told the universe was a machine. Solid, separate, predictable. A Newtonian reality of rigid cause and effect, where you were just one small cog spinning helplessly in an indifferent clockwork cosmos. That worldview made sense when we thought the universe was nothing more than matter and forces acting upon matter. Gravity pulls, heat rises, time marches forward. And we, tiny humans, were simply at the mercy of those laws. But then quantum physics happened. And suddenly the ground beneath that entire worldview cracked. The discovery shocked not just science, but philosophy, spirituality, and even psychology. Because the deeper researchers looked into the fabric of reality, the stranger it became. At the smallest scale of atoms and subatomic particles, matter stopped behaving like matter. Electrons could exist in multiple places at once. Photons acted like both waves and particles depending on how we looked at them. And most unsettling of all, the observer, the simple act of watching, changed the outcome. In other words, the universe isn't some distant, detached mechanism. It responds, it interacts, it mirrors. And this is where ancient teachings and modern science begin to shake hands. Thousands of years before quantum physicists scratched their heads over probability waves, mystics and philosophers spoke of the world as a reflection of consciousness. Hermes Trismegistus declared, "As above, so below, as within, so without." The idea that reality is a hologram, a mirror reflecting your own state of being, was whispered in temples long before laboratories confirmed the same strange truth. This is the quantum law of being. Reality does not unfold independently of you. It bends, reflects, and crystallizes according to who you are, your state of consciousness, your assumptions, your deepest feelings. Think of it like a mirror. If you frown, the reflection frowns back. If you smile, the reflection smiles. The mirror itself has no will. It doesn't argue with you. It simply echoes back what you project into it. The universe works in the same way. But here's the unsettling twist. Most of us walk through life frowning at the mirror, then cursing the reflection. We fight shadows, forgetting that they are only shadows. We think reality is happening to us, when all along it is happening through us, responding to the vibration of our state of being. Quantum physics now points to an infinite field of possibility, a field where every potential version of your life already exists. The happy you, the free you, the wealthy you, the deeply loved you. These versions aren't fantasy. They are fact, already existing in the higher dimension that Neville Goddard called the fourth dimension, equal the space of infinite potential. So why are you experiencing this specific version of life and not another? Why this timeline with its particular challenges and gifts? That's where the law of being comes in. What you assume yourself to be, what you emotionally dwell in, is the filter that selects which version of reality you collapse into from the infinite field. It is not chance, it is not punishment, it is not random luck. It is your consciousness reflected back to you, and the moment you grasp this, your entire understanding of reality begins to shift. If you truly want to understand the quantum law of being, you have to first understand something radical. Time isn't what you think it is. In the Newtonian worldview, time is linear. Yesterday leads to today. Today leads to tomorrow. Cause leads to effect, and the past seems to chain you down like an anchor. If you failed in the past, you believe that failure defines you. If you suffered yesterday, you fear that suffering will echo into tomorrow. But in the quantum model, time is not a straight line. It is a dimension, a coordinate in a greater field of existence. Imagine a vast library. Every book in that library already exists. Every story is already written. You are simply reading one book at this moment. The other books don't disappear. They remain on the shelves, waiting for you to pull them down and turn the pages. This is what Neville Goddard meant when he said that the fourth dimension contains all possibilities of your life. Not just the one you're living now, but every possible timeline, every version of events already exists as fact. So the question becomes, what determines which book you pull off the shelf? What determines which timeline you experience? The law of being says your state of consciousness is the key. Think of consciousness as a tuning fork. Strike it, and it vibrates at a specific frequency. That frequency will resonate with whatever in the environment matches it. Likewise, your inner state resonates with a specific version of reality from the infinite field. If you dwell in lack, you resonate with the timeline where lack exists. If you embody abundance, you resonate with the timeline where abundance already is. This is why so many people feel stuck. They think they must change the outer world to change their experience. They fight circumstances, rearrange details, chase solutions out there, when the real key lies in changing their inner state first. The outer world is not the cause, it is the effect. And once you really let that sink in, you begin to see why spirituality and quantum physics are finally pointing to the same truth. The world is not independent of you, it is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Now you might be wondering, if all possibilities already exist, why don't we experience instant shifts? Why can't we just flip from one version of reality to another in the blink of an eye? The answer lies in the nature of the three-dimensional world. This physical plane has a built-in delay, like a mirror with a slight lag. You project the inner assumption, and the outer world gradually rearranges itself to reflect it. This delay is a gift. Without it, life would collapse into chaos. Imagine if every fleeting thought instantly materialized. The delay creates continuity, allowing the story of your life to unfold in a way that feels meaningful, coherent, and navigable. But make no mistake, the shift does happen. Persist in a new state of being, and the mirror has no choice but to reflect it. It cannot resist you. It has no will of its own. And here lies the greatest paradox. The infinite wants to experience what it feels like to be you. That's why the veil exists. That's why you forget your oneness with the whole. Because if you knew this was a game, if you remembered the infinite safety of your true nature, you could not taste the raw adventure of fear, joy, struggle, and triumph. The all-powerful chose to become limited, to become you, to have this authentic experience. And through the law of being, it handed you the steering wheel. The mirror effect, how life reflects your inner state. Life is not random. It is precise, it is mathematical. Just as a mirror reflects your image back without judgment, the outer world reflects your inner state back to you. This is not philosophy, it is law. Think of someone who believes they are unworthy of love. They don't walk around announcing it. They smile, they talk, they go on dates. But beneath the surface, the vibration of "I am not enough" hums like background music. And without fail, the world reflects it. Partners who leave, friends who betray, bosses who undervalue. The mirror is brutally honest. On the other hand, someone who dwells in abundance doesn't need to beg, chase, or force. Their being radiates the truth of "I have," and reality bends toward them. Opportunities open, synchronicities multiply, doors appear where there were none. This is why Neville Goddard insisted, stop focusing on circumstances. Circumstances are the reflection, not the cause. You don't stand in front of a mirror, frown at the image, and try to move its mouth with your hand. You change your own expression, and the reflection follows. But here's the trap. Most people live inside the mirror. They see lack reflected and assume it's real. They feel rejection and assume it's permanent. They look at their bank account, their relationship status, their failures, and they let the mirror dictate who they are. This is living backwards. The law of being flips it. It says, the reflection is delayed, so stop staring at the glass. Instead, go inward. Assume the state you desire, feel it real, persist, and the mirror will eventually comply. This is why spiritual masters spoke of faith. Faith is not belief without evidence. Faith is knowing the evidence is simply delayed. Take the example of healing. A person identifies as sick, broken, diseased. Their state of being reinforces the script, I am unwell. And so the body continues to reflect that. But the moment they shift to a state of wholeness, identifying as already healed, the body, which is part of the mirror, begins to reorganize itself. Sometimes gradually, sometimes miraculously. Or consider money. Someone who embodies poverty at the level of being can win the lottery and still end up broke. Why? Because their state of consciousness is poverty. The mirror must return it. Conversely, someone who dwells in wealth at the level of being may start with nothing, but resources, ideas, and allies gather around them, because the mirror must return that too. The mirror does not judge, it only reflects. And here's the secret most miss. The reflection is always accurate, but it is not always immediate. That gap between state and reflection is where doubt creeps in. It's where people give up, thinking this doesn't work. They abandon the new state before the mirror had time to rearrange itself. Persistence is the bridge. If you hold the state long enough, the reflection cannot resist. And once you see life this way, you stop being surprised. Every person you meet, every event that unfolds is part of the reflection, not punishment, not reward, just the exact, unbiased feedback of your inner state. The world is your mirror, and you are the cause. Shifting states, how to rewrite the script of your life. Knowing that reality mirrors your state of being is only the first step. The real power comes when you learn how to shift your state deliberately. Most people try to change their lives by rearranging the external world, chasing more money, begging for love, forcing discipline. But remember that like trying to adjust your reflection in the mirror by touching the glass. You'll get nowhere. The secret is inner work. And there are 3 core methods taught by mystics like Neville Goddard, each designed to shift your state at the deepest level. 1. Feeling it real. This is the heart of the law of being. You don't wait for the mirror to change before you feel different. You feel different now. Ask yourself, if it were already done, how would I feel? Not what would I think, not what would I say, but what would I feel? Would you feel lighter, relieved, joyful, secure? That feeling is the new state, and once you occupy it, the mirror begins to shift. The mind resists this. It says, but look at my circumstances. They don't match yet, and that's the point. You stop letting circumstances dictate your state and instead let your state dictate your circumstances. 2. Visualization. Visualization is not daydreaming, it's not hoping. It is a deliberate act of creation. Close your eyes, enter the stillness, then imagine a short, vivid scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled, not the process of getting it, the result. If you desire love, imagine someone you trust congratulating you on your happy relationship. If you desire wealth, imagine shaking hands after signing the contract that changed everything. The key, keep the scene simple, repeatable, and emotionally charged. Feel the reality of it. Make it natural. When done correctly, the subconscious accepts this as fact. And since the subconscious is the bridge to the mirror, life rearranges to make it so. 3. Revision. This is perhaps the most radical tool. Revision says the past is not fixed. Because time is not linear, every version of the past exists, and you are free to choose which version lives in your memory, which in turn dictates your present state. Say you were humiliated yesterday. Instead of replaying the wound, you return in imagination and replay it differently. You see yourself calm, confident, victorious. You rewrite the script until it feels natural. And the strangest thing happens. Not only does the emotional sting vanish, but often external reality also reshapes itself to align with the revised memory. People act differently, outcomes shift, doors open where there were none. Because the past is not past. It is a present state you are sustaining. Change the state and the story changes. These 3 techniques, feeling it real, visualization, and revision, are not rituals. They are gateways. They bypass the conscious mind and impress the subconscious with a new reality. And once the subconscious accepts it, the mirror must comply. The outer world has no choice but to echo the inner assumption. And that's where your true power lies, not in forcing life to change, but in becoming the version, the quantum law of being, your true role in creation. So let's step back and see the bigger picture. The law of being isn't a trick. It isn't a hack for quick manifestations. It is the fundamental principle of existence. The mirror reflects who you are being. And this has profound spiritual implications. Think about it. If reality is a mirror, and the mirror depends entirely on your state, then creation itself is not outside of you. It is through you. The source, the all, God, whatever name you give it, is not testing you, punishing you, or dangling rewards. It is experiencing itself as you. The universe is infinite possibility. Every path already exists. Every version of you already exists. And what collapses into your lived experience depends on the state you occupy in this now. That means your true work in life is not to chase, not to strive, not to beg. It is simply to become, to assume the state of the one you wish to be, to persist in it despite appearances, to trust the mirror to do what mirrors do, reflect. And in this, you discover freedom. You realize you are not a victim of circumstance, but the center of it. You realize time is not a prison, but a stage. You realize God is not a distant ruler, but the very awareness beating in your chest. The law of being says, life is not happening to you, life is happening through you. So, what will you choose to be? Will you be the one stuck, small and powerless, reflected endlessly in a world of frustration? Or will you be the one free, creative, and whole, reflected endlessly in a world of abundance? The mirror is waiting, and it has no will of its own. It only knows how to reflect you back to yourself. So the invitation is simple. Smile into it. Step boldly into the state of the life you desire. Become it now. And watch as the world shifts, reshapes, and reorganizes itself in ways you could never have predicted, because it has no choice. That is the quantum law of being. And once you understand this, reality shifts.